And now we're joined by Cage Warriors flyweight Aaron Aby, who takes on Samir Faiddine at Cage Warriors 132 on December 11th. Aaron, you're looking to bounce back, and who better to do it against than in a former champion?
Yeah, it's a perfect fight to bounce back with. Obviously, when you lose to Sam and he's going on to win the title now, it knocks you back a little bit. It puts you down the rankings. But then, if you can beat someone who's beat Sam, you're right back in the mix straight away. So it's a perfect fight to come back to.
And you say he's beaten Sam. What do you make of him as an opponent in terms of stylistically, and how do you feel you match up against him?
Obviously, all the opponents now are good. There's no one you're ever going to fight who's not going to be a good level, especially when you've been around the game like I have. Stylistically, he's very explosive. He's a bit more of a counter striker. Doesn't really throw much volume, but what he does throw, he commits to, and he's going to be very fast and strong. So I'm expecting him to be explosive. I feel like stylistically, though, I match it well with him. You know, I can set a high pace and I can keep a high pace. I can take him where he doesn't want to be, and I'm also an intelligent fighter. So even if someone's faster than me, I've got the tools and the mindset to work a way around that and be able to grind out the win. Take the fight where I want it to be.
You've had less than 3 months to reflect from your last fight and work towards this one. Was that enough time to kind of mentally relax yourself and kind of prepare for this one?
Yeah, I'm always mentally good, to be honest. Like for me, I enjoy fighting. I enjoy the competition. I'm training all the time. I'm never like having time off from the gym because I love it, whether I'm training for my fight or teammates have got fights or whether I'm coaching. I'm always in the gym. It's what I do every day. So I don't really need time to prepare or mentally refocus because, to me, I just love it anyway. And I've been through many tough things in life that fighting isn't going to affect me too much mentally. For me, the biggest improvement I had to make from the last fight was just gaining weight. Because, when you're fighting at the top level and you're competing against the best guys in Europe, if not the world, Sam Creasy's probably one of the better guys in the world, I think, at flyweight division. You can't be giving away 15, 20 pounds on fight night. Like I was waking up for the last Cage Warriors, eating breakfast and then going to weigh in. So my plan from the last fight was to gain some weight, eat more food and do a small weight cut for this fight, and worked my way towards that and made those improvements.
And that's quite interesting to hear because, you never really hear about flyweights putting on weight. But do you feel like you're in the best shape of your life right now then?
Yeah, I always feel like I'm in good shape. And I feel like I used to cut weight earlier in my career, although small weight cuts. And then obviously after being ill, I lost a lot of weight. So I was just working my way back up because I went down to 49 kilogram. But now I've gained the weight that I wanted to gain, and I'll be doing a small weight cut next week. It won't be massive. It won't be as big as everyone else's, but I'll be carrying a few extra pounds come fight night, which I'm going to hope to use to my advantage.
Does a small weight cut help in a sense of allowing you to prepare everything else but your weight?
How do you mean?
In terms of just your mental, in terms of how you prepare your mental frame of mind before a fight, and also, being able to train a bit more, putting energy into that rather than losing energy through a weight cut or whatever.
Yeah, like I've never been one to like starve because I've always been like low at the weight, so I've always been able to eat plenty of food, especially the most recent fights. That's why I can take fights on short notice, because I'm always 1 or 2 weeks away from making weight. As for preparing and training, like I said, I'm always training. I just go a bit more specific on certain areas and things I feel like I can take advantage of. in the fight and just narrow it down a little bit. That's the only thing I really change about training, and maybe just have a little bit more sparring, harder sparring. But other than that, preparation is pretty much the same.
And with an opponent like Samir, you put yourself right back in the title picture with a win. He has a win over Sam as well. Do you feel like a title shot might be next after this fight if you do win, and a possible rematch with Sam Creasy?
I hope so. That was one of the reasons for me taking the fight. Was I feel like it puts me straight back in the mix, depending on who wins that fight. But if Luke Shanks can miss weight by 4 or 5 pounds and get a rematch with Sam Creasy, I'm sure if I beat someone who was a former world champion who's got a win over Sam Creasy, that surely I can word my in for a rematch as well and a title shot. Or, even if Shanks wins this fight, that could open up the division a bit more and open it up for me, because obviously I fought Sam last fight. It's something fresh, me v Luke Shanks for the title. So obviously I just got to focus on this fight for now. But like one of the things that excited me about this fight was facing a former world champion who'd beaten someone that I'd lost to.
And just quickly looking at that rematch for the flyweight title, do you think Luke Shanks has a chance, or do you see Sam Creasy reigning supreme again?
In this game, anyone has a chance. Anyone has a chance. Luke Shanks is good. Sam Creasy is good. I think Sam Creasy is a smart fighter. I think Luke Shanks may be physically a bit bigger. But like I said, them two could fight 10 times and it'd be 5-5 to whoever's going to be better on the night. I think if Sam does win, obviously, hats off to him. He's done it twice in a row, and I wouldn't be surprised though if Luke Shanks win. I just think they're both good athletes, and looking forward to watching them fight.
Obviously, you had a really tough opponent to have in your Cage Warriors debut, as we've now seen. He's become the champion. Does that give you even more motivation to go and catch the crown in a way? As you faced him already.
Yeah, like you never want to lose any fight, and everyone I've fought, I've always tried to get rematches with after. That's always been one of my aims, and you always want to avenge those losses. So even if Sam didn't have the belt, it would be something I would want to look to challenge myself towards doing again. Losing to someone, going away, making adjustments, making improvements, having a second chance at that person, whether he's the title challenger or not. Obviously, I come into Cage Warriors, and my first fight was ranked against the #1 guy in Europe. But that's what I'm here for, I don't want to be fighting anyone other than the best. I want those tough challenges, and I want to test myself.
Just looking at that fight with Creasy quickly, how disappointed were you with how that panned out?
To be fair, quite a bit disappointed. I don't feel like I performed anywhere near my capabilities, and I don't feel like I pushed the pace like I normally do. He did well to slow it down. He used his weight well, which was one of the things that made me come away and think, right, I've got to put on some weight here. You can't be giving that weight away against some of the top level guys. But for me, I'm always in a war, and whether I win or lose, normally there's blood, there's everything, there's a high pace action fight, and that last one didn't really have that. I didn't really have any damage. I was back in the gym on the Monday. He didn't have any damage. It was just like a slow fight, and I don't like that. That doesn't represent who I am or how I fight. So mainly about my performance disappointed me the most, and I'll be looking to make up for that this next weekend.
Do you think any kind of part to do with that is without fighting without fans is to help with how the kind of energy of the fight goes?
A little bit. Normally, I always have a good crowd there, and I like fighting with my fans there, and they're always very supportive, and they'll always sing and chant. But I fought in Dubai before with no fans, well, like without any of my fans, and I don't want to make that as an excuse.
Of course, what does it mean for you to compete in Cage Warriors? Because it's the leading organization in Europe, and look at the flyweight division as well. It's got some really talented fighters in there. I'm sure it really motivates you.
Yeah, I think like the Cage Warriors flyweight division, you look at the guys in it, they could all be in the UFC. They've all got an argument to be in the UFC, where you look at like Bellator doesn't really have a flyweight division. I know Brave has a good flyweight division, in fairness. And then Cage Warriors has a good flyweight division. The yellow gloves are iconic with MMA. And the thing that motivated me was seeing teammates on it, but also when I was ill, having that phone call with Ian Dean about being able to fight and going through the cancer at the time. And he just said the pair of yellow gloves would be waiting for me. So that was something that always motivated me going through my cancer journey to get back competing. And like I said, it's a good platform for me as well to promote my story on and inspire others, because that's always been one of my aim, is to help inspire others and motivate others. So being on Cage Warriors, I can get my name out there and hopefully motivate a lot of people and inspire them if they're going through tough times, that they can come out the other end of it and achieve whatever they want.
Now, you talk about that journey you went on. You certainly haven't had the easiest journey to get into Cage Warriors. For those that don't know, you also fought, you have cystic fibrosis, which you were born with. And then in 2017, you had to put your career on hold to fight another battle outside of the cage as you were diagnosed with cancer. Was getting back to competing in MMA an extra kind of a motivation to you to defeat cancer when you had to put your career on hold?
Yeah, 100%. People are happy when they've got a purpose.
Yeah.
And MMA is one of my purposes. And when you're going through something and being told that you won't fight again, being told you might not come out at the end of this, being told for your parents to write a will for you, they were the things that motivated me to not let it defeat me, and give me that purpose to get up every morning, make sure I was doing all I could to survive it. Like I always give the story of, after my first operation, I was waiting for another operation and my lung function had gone to like 40%. And they said to me, your another operation's in 6 weeks. So rather than me just wait for that operation, like I hit the gym, I started going on the rower, started doing some conditioning. And then by the time I went in for the operation, I managed to get my lung function back up to 68%. So I was doing everything I could to get back in there, and with the support of everyone around me who helped pushing me and like helped looking after me, it was a team effort to get me back in there. And I think also me having that goal helped them motivate me and stay on top of me. But like I always say, like people always ask me, "Oh, what's your best fight you've had? What's your best achievement? Was it like fighting at the MAN on ACB or anything?" And for me, it was just making that walk after the cancer and getting back in there. Even though the fight was a draw, that was my greatest sporting achievement, and probably the greatest achievement of my life, just because of everything that went before it, but everything that I represented with the people around me that helped got me back in there.
It's quite rare that we see these kind of stories in sport, and when we do see it, it's quite inspirational. Is that what you want to be? Is you want to be an inspiration and your story and tell it and hopefully inspire people who are going through similar stuff to fight through it and do exactly kind of what you did?
Well, yeah, but when I started MMA, like back as a kid, I was a footballer growing up, like played at professional clubs, played for Wales and stuff. And I didn't tell anyone, like me and my family didn't tell anyone I had cystic fibrosis, because we didn't want people to like feel sorry for me and pick me because of it, or not pick me because of it. We would keep it like as a secret. Like I go away with Wales to like foreign countries, I'd be sneaking me tablets from my pockets and making sure nobody could see me or anything, taking them. because I just want to be treated the same as everyone else. And when I went into MMA, we wanted to use mixed martial arts to promote cystic fibrosis, to promote the literature and things around cystic fibrosis, especially when I was 18 and stuff, was negative, you know, like life, I'm going to have a lot of time off from school. Like there wasn't many positive stories. So we cystic fibrosis in a positive lifestyle and promote my story to give kids with cystic fibrosis. I've gone and talked to schools. We like through my fights, I think we've raised over like £20,000 with cystic fibrosis. So that was always one of my aims, to do that through the sport and just give people a little bit of positive hope.
And you talk about your being involved in football. I'm sure you were involved in other sports as well. What was it like growing up with cystic fibrosis in terms of getting into MMA, and were people against you competing at first?
Obviously the hospital were.
Yeah.
My family was supportive of me competing. You know, I got into MMA because my dad took me to my uncle's class, so that was like a family thing at the time. So and you know, growing up, they never wanted to hold me back from doing anything. You know, like they were told, "Oh, don't let him do PE because he might get out of breath," or make sure if it's cold, you like keep him in and stuff. But my mum and dad brought me up differently. They like let me live a life like other kids. Like I didn't know really I had cystic fibrosis, and it was a thing until I was like 13, 14 and started learning about it in school. And that I used to think everyone used to have like physio and Nebby and tablets, and I think that was just because of the way I was brought up. I didn't really think anything different at the time, and then the more I found out about it, the more I started using it as a motivation as well to like prove people that you can still do something. And like if anyone tell me I couldn't, I'd be like, right, there's the fire at me bum, I'm gonna go and do it.
And what were the mental battles, just going back to your journey with cancer now, what were the mental battles you faced there? Does your experience battling cancer help you in a way to dealing with mental battles and competing and maybe like coming back from a loss kind of in that sense?
100%. I think when you've been prepared to almost die, everything else just feels like that minute and almost a blessing. Like when you've been like rock bottom down there and just clinging on to a little bit of hopes and a little bit of purposes and going through that, like for me competing now is just like, don't get me wrong, I hate losing.
Yeah.
Like I'm the guy who, if I'm playing pool with my godson, I'm gonna beat him, like don't care how old he is. I hate losing and everything, but like the mental challenges that I've gone through, mixed martial arts, nothing compared to that. Like nothing. Like you know, I'll take any fight with anyone because I'm not scared of anything. I've been at the lowest point ever, so everything for me now is just a bonus. It is just a bonus, and I think like the mental aspects of competing is just fun and tactical warfare and the knowledge of mixed martial arts. But like, I really hope that if I'm in a situation where I lose a fight and I'm like, oh, this is the end of the world, then I'm going to give myself a slap, because I've been through a lot worse. And if the worst thing I've got to deal with at a point is losing a fight, and then I'm practically still winning anyway. So yeah, I definitely think what I've been through has helped me in this situation, and helped me grow as a person as well.
You mentioned earlier about Cage Warriors putting an offer for you in terms of saying, you know, we're here for you once you get through it. Was that kind of a bit of help of giving you a bit of hope as well in that sense? Is that they're waiting for you and they believe in you and they're backing you?
Yeah, it was a little bit like I was in hospital at the time having chemotherapy, and he messaged me, offering me a fight in Cardiff. It was at the time, and I like obviously people didn't know about my situation. Everyone thought I was still training and everything. So I've explained the situation to him, and he's just said, "Oh, there'll be a pair of yellow gloves waiting for you when you come back." And I was on my own at the time; nobody was with me. And I remember like getting off my phone. I was like, "That I'm gonna get back, and I'm gonna put a pair of those yellow gloves on, and you'll see me competing again." So it was just that story really, that when I got the offer from Cage Warriors when I was back, was one of the reasons I wanted to take it.
You soon got back to competing, having defeated cancer. What was it like hearing a doctor give you the all clear and knowing you could go back to doing exactly what you love?
Yeah, it was a good day for everyone around me, not just me, like constant hospital visits all the time. It was just like going back to the same place, getting checkups and everything, and even just be told, right, we don't need to see you for 3 months. I'm like, oh, sound. And just knowing that, like, because I've been putting in the work after my operation, like after 2 weeks of it, I was back with my physio. She was coming to my house, helping me. Like I was going on walks with my dog and my family, and like sometimes someone would, because if like people were working, like Haley, my mum, my dad would come get me and take me for a walk and that, and we were all working towards getting me back there. And then I started in the gym, and I remember once I put a picture up on Instagram, and it was just me lifting the bar, which at the time was like a big achievement. And some random guy just commented, giving me a bit of stick on it, and about 30 of my mates just started tearing into this one guy who just like wrote a little comment, obviously not knowing what had happened. But like I said, like some people say I was lucky, but I don't think I am, because I worked hard to get back there. Yeah. And a lot of people might not have, and it was a collective effort. But I'm not lucky. I put a lot of work in, and I grinded it out, and I was in the gym, and I was like started back rolling. I started back hitting pads. I did everything properly, and like I made sure my nutrition was on point, my sleep. Like even when I was ill, I got my own cancer nutritionist to help work with me, who specialized in cancer. I started like taping my mouth up before bed to increase my lung function. I worked hard for it, so, and a lot of people worked hard for me, and it was just like sometimes you'd be there at night, and you'd be in your room, and you'd be like asking, like just asking anyone for help. You'd be like, oh, can someone help me? Surely there's a way out of this. But then I realized I'm the only person that can help me, and the people around me are the only person that can help me. So when we got back, that was everyone's collective effort of hard work that got me back there. So yeah, it was a positive moment. That's why I said the fight back after cancer on UKFC, like I was the main event of the night, and there was probably only a few hundred people left in there by the end of the night. But that walk to the cage was my most proudest achievement, because of everything that had gone on before it.
Looking at your return to just going into kind of getting training again and working yourself towards being into fight shape, and that, how difficult was that in terms of returning from battling cancer? Because I'm sure there's not many fighters that have gone through that like you.
It was hard. It was like, obviously when you're coming back and you can't do things that you used to be able to do, it would sometimes be like, oh, like, why can't I still do that? But then it was also enjoyment, because I hadn't been doing it for that long. Like it been taken away from me. Like I get up every day and I go to the gym, but when I was ill, I couldn't. Yeah. So like that purpose had gone for me. Like I ended up getting a dog, Lenny, because he became my purpose. Then I get up and walk him. So when I was getting back training, even though my level needed to work and I needed to build up slowly, I was still doing what I love, being around people I love, like-minded people. So like I knew it was going to be a process, and like with my physio, we set goals. Like by this, you'll be doing this. Then by this week, you can be doing this. As long as you're doing this. So I was just constantly chipping away to them goals. And then I remember like I got a fight, and my fight back was probably too soon. You know, I was 50 kilograms. I like drove myself to the weigh-in with my dog after eating. My opponent missed weight by like 2 kg, and like I'd only been training properly for probably 6 weeks, so it was probably too soon. But I wanted to do it so I could put a ruler under everything I'd been through. And like, right, because to me, I hadn't, even though I was back training and they give me the all clear, my cancer journey wasn't over until I'd competed. So for me, that was the aim, is to get back competing, and I could go, right, that's cancer, done with, move on.
Now just talk us through, you know, that ring walk for your first fight back. What were the emotions like making that walk? And also just looking at your first win, because that came the fight after. What was it like to get your hand raised for the first time, having gone through what you'd gone through?
So the walk back, the entrance walk for UKFC, like I probably could have cried. Like I was holding back the tears. I was standing up over the balcony, and I was looking down, and I could see everyone who meant a lot to me and who had been on that journey with me. I could see them all in the crowd. People who'd been in the hospital with me, people who'd like cleaned up my sick when I was sick, people who'd like carried me places if I needed carrying. Everyone who'd been like to hospital appointments with me, I could see them all. And when Brian Lacey like announced like the comeback from the cancer, and obviously everyone stood up, and even my walkout song was the first time I ever played it, because it was one of the songs that got me through my cancer journey. Like I just put it on and listened to it, and like walking back, that was the most important thing for me. And like making that walk back, I probably could have just stopped and cried there. Obviously I knew I had a job to do at the time. And then the fight in Dubai, for your second question, that was like took it on 2 weeks notice. But I remember Steve Nightingale rang me up. He was like, "Oh, what are you doing February the 7th?" And I was like, "Oh, it's my 30th. Why?" Like, because like my mum would be asking me, "Do you want a party?" and all that. And I was like putting it off. I didn't want to be 30. I was like, "No, we'll just like dip it under the rug. I'm not 30 yet." And he was like, "I've got you a fight in Dubai." And I was like, "That's a 30th. Let's go." So for me, that was just again a fun time. Like we went away for the week, did some training. Like Dubai is a great place, and I got to fight on my 30th birthday, and against a guy who was 8-1 at the time and #1 ranked in his country, and get a win. So that was a great experience. Didn't really like compare it. Like that wasn't like, "Oh, that's my first win back after cancer," if you get me. That was more like, "Oh, that's a great 30th birthday party."
I'm just looking at December 11th, your call. There's going to be fans back. What's your support going to be like at your call? Are you excited to be able to fight in front of fans again?
I'm excited. Obviously, it's not close for my fans to be making the journey, but they are coming. Not as many as normal, with as expected. Like I've got like a group of like 30-40 mates who still play football and rugby and that, and who won't be able to make it. But still, a lot of fans are coming from Wales. People are coming from Preston, which is good as well. So it'll be good to have the fans back in there, and like I said, feed off their energy and put on a good show for them. And
for you personally now, what are your goals in terms of competing from now on? Do you want to get that Cage Warriors flyweight title and move on to the UFC in terms of saying your story on a wider scale, or what are your goals?
100%. I think the UFC has to be everyone's goal in this game. But for me, like I said earlier, every fight, every chance to train is just a bonus. I'm gonna keep taking one fight at a time, challenge myself against the best opponents. I want the best fights. I want things that excite me. Go for that Cage Warriors belt, and then go from there. Like, feel like I have unfinished business in Cage Warriors and MMA, and I'm just going to keep working, keep developing, keep getting better, and just keep loving the journey.
When it's all said and done, what would you want to be remembered for?
Being me, and hopefully giving people a bit of hope and inspiration if they need it. Like, I don't think like I'll ever go down as like the best flyweight technically in the world, but what's more important to me is having heart, which can translate into life. Because people will have different avenues in life, whether it's sport or their job, their career. But I think the most important thing is being able to get through tough situations and come out the other end. And like I always say, my life isn't perfect, and I don't think life's are meant to be perfect. You're not always meant to be happy. You're not always meant to have this easy journey. But if I can give people hope and be remembered for giving people hope through dark times, that'll do me more than my MMA skills.
Now, finally, can we just get a prediction out of you for how your fight against Samir Faiddine will go, and what's the best outcome for you from this fight? Would you say?
I'm going to finish him. That's what I want to happen. That's my aim. He's never been finished, and I think I can finish him, and that's what I believe is going to happen, and that's what I'm going to do.
Well, thank you ever so much for your time, and I really appreciate for your time. All the best on our Cage Warriors 132, and all the best for your future as well.
No problem. Thanks for having me.